Our planet Earth. Such a lovely Wait a minute. That's not Earth. That's. Okay, here we are. Our planet Earth. With it. That's not Earth either. Come on. Okay, better. Much better. Here we go. Our planet Earth. Such a lovely place with its oceans and mountains, deserts and plains, all so majestic and beautiful. Hard to believe it's all possible. I'm sure you remember that our planet is made up of 7 continents, right? I mean, you learned that a few years ago. Wait a minute, what's a continent? A continent is a large landmass or massive chunk of land, completely or nearly surrounded by water. The continents are North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, and that's only 6. I could use a clue. Oh yeah, yes, Antarctica. And here they all are, all nicely labeled. You see North America? That's the continent we live on. And if that's North America, then under it, or south of it, since we're talking about direction on a map, south of North America is South America. Notice that Central America is not part of South America, it's part of North America. Then there's the second largest continent, second largest in population and land area. That's right, Africa. If Africa is the second largest continent, then what's the largest? You guessed it, Asia. It is the biggest continent in land area and in population, but notice it's got the smallest name, only 4 letters. And here's Europe. I know what you're thinking. Mr. Ransom, you said the definition of a continent is a large landmass surrounded by water. I know, but people still consider Europe a continent. And sometimes people call Europe Eurasia because it is attached to Asia. Australia is the smallest continent in land size. It's also the only continent that's also a country, or country that's also a continent. You know what I'm saying. Finally, there's Antarctica. Yes, there is the letter C in the middle of the word Antarctica. I used to think it was Antarctica, like art class or something, but no, respect that C. Repeat after me. Antarctica. Good job. I heard that C. Now, it's time for you to try. Can you find the continents? All right. Point to North America. Now, point to South America. Good. Now point to Africa. Point to Asia. Point to Europe. Good. Point to Australia. And then finally, ants crawl on the ground. See if you can find the continent of Antarctica. Excellent. I think you're ready. Time for the 5 oceans. Let's start with the biggest ocean of all, the Pacific Ocean. No, there aren't 2 Pacific Oceans. It's just that the Earth is a sphere. I've always had trouble with that word. The Earth is a ball, like round. And when we look at Earth on a flat map, we usually pull that ball, that sphere, apart at the Pacific Ocean. Part of the Pacific goes left, part of the Pacific goes right. So there's 1 Pacific Ocean. Anyway, the Pacific got its name from European explorers who noticed how calm and pacified the ocean was when compared to the rough Atlantic Ocean. So they called it the Pacific Ocean, meaning calm ocean. You think about a baby who's crying and all upset, we give that baby a pacifier to make it be quiet. The ocean that many of us know best is the one nearest to where we live. If you've ever fought the waves at Virginia Beach, or Ocean City, Maryland, or the Outer Banks of North Carolina, you have touched the waters of the Atlantic Ocean. The ocean in the North Pole, I'm sorry. The ocean in the North Pole is the Arctic Ocean. There's a sneaky letter C there again. Arctic Ocean. If you know where the Asian country of India is located, it's kind of like an arrow that points directly at the Indian Ocean. And lastly, the ocean way down south. We need a good name for this ocean in the south. Let's see. Oh, I've got one. We could call it the Southern Ocean. So, those are your 5 oceans. Whew, what a review. Continents and oceans. It's been a while, hasn't it? So, our Earth can be split into 2 halves. One way to do this is using the equator. The equator cuts the Earth into a northern half and a southern half, or northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. As a matter of fact, the word hemisphere means half of a ball. Hemi meaning half and sphere means ball. That word again, sphere. But there's another way to cut the world into 2 halves. We could use a line called the prime meridian. It runs from north to south. It creates an eastern hemisphere and a western hemisphere. I think that's enough for now. Oh wait, I do want to mention that because our planet is floating and flying around through outer space, and in outer space there's no up or down, no north or south, no east or west, so we could look at the Earth any number of ways. Usually we see the Earth like this. But it could just as easily look like this. Know your continents and oceans now? How about like this? Do you see North America? Do you see Africa? Well, until next time, that's all, folks.